almost forgot to add me.
Yeah, I got to add yourself to the stage as well.
I know. So how's everyone doing tonight? You doing all right, Jeff?
Yeah, doing pretty good. It's a Friday night. I'm glad the weekend is here. It was right now this time of year with work. It's we're in vacation season, so uh, it's just there's a lot of staff going in and out of vacation, things like that, and I myself am looking to take some time off here soon. Um, especially in August when Axacon comes up. Got the email there in the newsletter, so looking forward to a little trip there. But it's been good. It's been nice weather out here. The grass is calling my name. I think I'm going to have to cut the grass probably sometime this weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I just had the guys do it the other day. Thank God, our grass had gotten into. It was a jungle. I was laying the dogs out. I was losing the dogs in the grass.
oh really?
They came in and it's all nice. It's all nice and cut now. And I was like, hey, our lawn's actually looking pretty good. It's nice and green. I've been watering it appropriately and all.
I try to stay on a schedule, but it can be hard sometimes because lately we've gotten into this thing where it's really nice and hot during the week, and it's hard to get time to cut it during the week because I'm so busy with work. And
Sure.
when you're working in IT, it's not just 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. I mean, you're pretty much always on call. There are things that you can only do after hours. There are some things that you just kind of need to be ready for. And I would always put it off, say, okay, well, I'm going to cut the grass on the weekend. And then it would rain on the weekend. And that threw me off. Yeah, that was a bad pattern there, but hopefully it doesn't rain this weekend.
Yeah. It's been so damn hot. It's crazy. Keith Benton just mentioned there was 109 degrees in California. I don't know where in California you are, Keith,
Ooh.
but yeah, that's brutal. But there's no global warming. It's all a figment of our imagination.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, and the seasons seem like they've really shifted, and that's the thing that really amazes me about global warming is it seems like it gets hotter later in the year. And like for pool season, they need to realign that because they open the pools when it's still spring-like weather, and then they close right when it's getting very hot. It's like, well, our seasons have shifted. We should shift things accordingly to that. But there's and it's especially noticeable in October. The first weekend of every October, there's this Oktoberfest festival in the area where I live, and I've got pictures of us bundled up in snow suits, scarves, hats, everything, freezing. And as the years progress, we're wearing less and less, and it's turned into some of the hottest days. So you've got this weekend in October that has been freezing, and then steadily it's really hot. So now you tell me what's going on there in the shift in all the seasons.
So W. Letty, are you from San Luis Obispo? Is that the SLO that you're hailing from? Keith's in Sacramento. Well, Sacramento's the middle of the state, and there's nothing there to give you a breeze or cut that down. So no wonder. Cloudy Nimitz is in Silicon Valley, 99. Ooh. Jeez,
that's hot.
Yeah, that's little too warm for us. So yeah. I just want and I just kind of we've been working on since we finished our this one project we were doing, and I'd be able to bring my focus back to Axanar. We got a bunch of stuff going on, including a shoot next weekend for the data list short, as well as an insert shot. We've got an insert shot that we're dropping into Axanar, so that will be shot. So which will be a lot of fun. So we're getting a red camera back here for one piece of it. So it's basically just two shots, both on the bridge. But yeah, so it's we're keeping busy and obviously working on the VFX. That's the big. By the way, I'm drinking my Celsius. We're big on Celsius in this household.
Ooh, nice.
Crystal used to be into diet Red Bull, which is just crap. And
Red Bull is just that's speed in a can.
Oh God, it's awful. But no, so the new so Celsius is good. And I needed a little pick me up. But as I was telling Jefferson before we signed on, I set the live stream up and I sent out the email about it, and then I was just like, I only got about 5 hours sleep last night. Got up real early this morning, and there was work to be done at our old house, so I was working at like 6:30 in the morning, or it might have been as early as 6. I was moving stuff and doing that until about 9, and then all day it was just busy all day. So I just was like, I need to go crash for like a half hour before this live stream. We do this live stream, so I face first into the pillow. I'm not in that. I'm mid at M. This and Pinot Grigio, the little orange 6-week-old kitten, comes and just he just totally realized that, oh, I like Alec. I'm going to hang out with him. And he's just purring in my ear and pawing at my face. And I'm like, so I literally got up, went into my walk-in closet, which is nice and carpeted and all, closed the door and crashed on the floor for like 20 minutes.
Kittens are rough about naps. They just don't want you to do it.
Oh no, they're like, hey, I got stuff to do here. Western Washington. Donnie is in Western Washington. That's what Gary Graham had moved up. He I guess about 2 years before Gary passed, they sold, him and his wife sold their house in the Valley, and which I'm sure they did very well on. It was a nice house and all, and I'm sure they did very well. And they moved up to Spokane Valley. And Gary could not say enough nice things about it. He just loved it up there, and that's where he ultimately passed. So yeah, Jeff Scott is in New Zealand. Hey Jeff, it's good to see you, my friend. And then Bill Krieger is in Oregon. There you go.
So it's just hot everywhere. Everywhere you go, hot.
Yeah, exactly. Manly Stranger. Manly Stranger. Yeah, I think you're new here. He says, I love your performance as Garth. Do you think you might ever make a fan film showing how Garth met Marta, the Yvonne Craig character from the original Garth? No, that's just, even though, I've kind of sketched out the story for what happened, what was the accident that sent him to Antos 4 and all of that. I don't see us making that necessarily. Plus, I'm getting a little old to play Garth, but we're talking now about doing another. Me and someone else doing another fan film that would have a Garth appearance in it. It was kind of be tied into Axanar, kind of, but be a next generation film. It's a great concept. So, but no. So thank you.
So you're going to reprise the character again? Is it going to be like an Axanar adjacent kind of film?
Yeah. I don't want to give it away right now, but
okay.
It's an interesting story. It takes place in TNG time frame, and Garth would be basically appear in a holodeck situation. We kind of came up with, he wanted Garth. I wasn't even planning to be in this. It was really about, I don't even want to get away. But it was really, it was tied into Axanar, but it features a Galaxy class and a Centaur class. And it was, we've been working it out. We don't quite have it down exactly what we want how we want this to work, but it's interesting and it's got some fun character stuff in it. And he was the one that said, oh, and at the end, he wants the captain to meet Garth on the holodeck. Right. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So we're talking about that and kind of have an interesting way to do something different with that. So anyway, we're working through that.
There's a project you mentioned right as we went live that I don't think I had heard anything about. Might be news to me.
Daedalus?
You talked about Daedalus. Can you share any more about that?
Yeah. So Daedalus is basically it's a little piece we did because I wanted to. Dave Lanyon, our benefactor, and Goodney Goodnesson, our other benefactor, they wanted ships named after them.
Mhm.
I was like, oh yeah, that's yeah, we could easily do that. And I said, because I'd always planned. We had a couple other people that paid to have ships named after them. Uh, so so yeah, I'm like, okay, we'll do that. And it was naming them after naming these hospital ships, these Daedalus class hospital refits, after, in this case, Dave Lanyon, Goody Goodinson, and we've already got images of them uh, that our VFX guy is doing. So, so we've kind of weaved this kind of at the spur of the moment. I was like, why don't we shoot something? We'll make a little short film called Daedalus, the Daedalus class hospital refit, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea being they took the Daedalus class as kind of the Liberty ship of the Romulan War, and they all get thrown in mothballs, and then 4 years war comes along, and they get pulled out of mothballs and refit as hospital ships, because they just need hulls to just do all this work. So there you go.
Okay, sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah. So and there's Don Alvarez, a good friend. How are you, Don? So I was like, okay, well, let me write something real quick. So I mean, it was so spur of the moment, but Dave and Goodney got in admirals costumes, and they came up with their character names, and I gave them each a couple lines, and we've weaved this little story. It'll be like 5-6 minutes. We got a different VFX guy from the two VFX guys that are working on Axanar, which is fun. It's fun to bring other people into the process. So that's all good. So yeah, so we're going to shoot the last character next weekend for that.
Okay, and that's being done there at the studio on the bridge set.
Yep, exactly. And then there's another character that we've just inserted. We'll just have 2 lines in Axanar, but there was something. It was kind of fortuitous. We had this character, and the line that we filmed didn't work. It was a little clunky. Mm-hmm. So I came up with, okay, we're going to put this character in, and these are the 2 lines that are going to really make that we like a lot in Axanar the characters playing off each other.
Right.
That's important, and we have more of that in these 2 episodes, where the characters talk about each other a little. There's a little bit of talk about Garth, like why is he special, and then there's always a little talk about Sonya, and mm-hmm. Which is fun, and because she's kind of crazy, and she's kind of a cowboy, right? Literally, like a cow. I always say she literally grew up on a ranch. And when I was originally talking to Kate Vernon, who originated the role, I was like, and I think Kate's Canadian. So as I was pitching her, I said, this girl grew up on a farm in Alberta, and I think it was Alberta. And she grew, and she was, wrangling horses when she was 6, and she has 3 brothers. That's her. That's
the character.
That's the character, because in coaching, when we were coaching volleyball, when I was coaching volleyball, when you were recruiting, you always looked for the girl who grew up with brothers, because that was a very competitive environment. Yes. So I kind of brought that into it, and I like the fact, I like the idea of her growing up on a ranch, and what that meant for her individuality and her work ethic and this and that. So,
because if I recall, we were talking about that one other live stream of ours that you had said she had talked to you and had trouble connecting with the character, and that's where you came up with that backstory. Was basically you've got brothers grew up on a farm and real competitive environment.
Yeah. And it was interesting because for Kate it was it was interesting because she had just kind of rolled off of Battlestar Galactica a few years earlier, right, in that amazing role of Ellen Ty, who is very feminine and but also kind of manipulative, right? And
Right,
she,
right.
but different dynamic. And so it was important with Kate, because I'll never forget. She called me up. I was driving south on the 101, and we were talking about it. And I told her, I said, when a woman is strong, it's not necessarily it's not a male energy. There's strong female energy. I said, think Wonder Woman, right? I said, so that's where and she and that helped her, and she started to connect with it. It was interesting. I didn't have to tell. So, and I've mentioned that Kate did not return for the role for this time. She wasn't able to do it, and so we have a new actress playing Sonia, but got the same hair and everything. And it worked great. It works brilliantly. As a matter of fact, Jeff Fagan and I were talking about it yesterday, and he was like, "It's better this time." Kate's a great actress, but it just really works because also, as Kate is really only known in our genre for Battlestar Galactica, right? She's really
right.
not,
You're right.
really not. So we got an actress who's very well known for.
And I can tell all of you watching, listening, that Alec is correct. I was there when it was being filmed. He is right. It really works.
Yeah, and so it's different. It's a little different take, but it's probably a little more snarky and a little less serious, but it's still great. And so
it's a different energy.
Yeah, it's a different energy, but it works. It works great, and I think that's what you wanted. If you we always said in coaching that when you substitute, you want to improve your team when you substitute, right? But sometimes it's not an improvement, it's something different, right?
Right.
Sometimes it's not we're making the team better, we're making the team different, and that works really well. And I think that's the case here. I think it's different, but it works really well. So yeah. And
it was a very good choice that was made there. I think it was I was certainly impressed, and the way that this actress plays the character. And you're right, it's not a replacement. It's a different way of doing it, because that was the first impression that I got, which was good, was that she was not trying to impersonate Kate doing the character. It was her take on the character, but it wasn't so different that you felt like it was two different people. So the approach to that, I think, was done very well, and it looks like it certainly works. I know I'm excited to see how it looks when it's right up there on the screen.
Yeah. So am I. So we'll see. But we're pretty excited. So right now the VFX shots are being generated. I was working with I stopped by Dana Wagner's house yesterday. Dana, who of course takes care of the set, the Aries studio set, but also he's been doing a lot of different things. He's very talented. So he's worked on sound effects with Mark. He's also working on graphics for us. So he has recreated the lower thirds, the little graphics you see at the bottom in Prelude that say who it is, right? Karn's Supreme Klingon Commander, whatever it says. He's recreated those, and he's doing the title, the intro titles as well.
How's Dana doing, by the way?
Yeah, Dana's doing great. He's doing great. He just retired. Just got over a bout of COVID. He just retired. So he's enjoying himself, I guess. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Yes. She was in the episode in the flesh. She played. Her last name was Archer.
I was trying to remember which episode she was in Voyager.
Yeah, in the flesh. It's the one where she plays Valerie. Is it Valerie Archer that her character's name? Where they go and species 8742 or whatever the hell they are have recreated Starfleet Academy.
Oh yes,
Right?
okay,
To prepare
okay,
for an invasion. And
invasion
it has
training.
Ray Walston reprises his role as Boothby, and the great Tucker Smallwood is in there as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was 8472. Thank you. It was a great episode, actually. I really enjoyed that episode, and I think it was. Correct me if someone can do a quick Google search, but I think it was Valerie Archer was the name of her character, and yeah, so that is right. That is her appearance in Star Trek. But yeah, so what else? And so we're working on that. We're working on the compositing the backgrounds, creating the backgrounds right now. It's all, as I've said, it's dangerous to say this, but I feel like we're riding downhill at this point. It's in the Tour de France, and we're on the last few miles, and there's work to be done, and it ain't finished yet. But it's like money's in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
VFX teams are set. We know exactly what needs to happen, and it's a lot of work, but we know what needs to happen. So it's all happening. And it's not happening as fast as maybe we'd like, but you know what?
It's
We've
happening.
waited 10 years. We're going to wait a couple months if we have to. But we're seeing everything happen. And as long as we're constantly paying attention to it, and, there's half a dozen plates and you're spinning those plates and making sure everything's going well, but everyone's doing their job, and God damn, it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. So, we'll see.
Valerie Archer was the name of the character that Kate Vernon played in that episode of Voyager. And I think the thing that's important is, and you just said it, is that it's been 10 years. We're almost there. What's another few weeks, couple months?
Yeah.
It's right there. Like there's the light at the end of the tunnel. We see it.
You just got to
getting
keep going.
to it. It's right there, and it's going to happen. But you're right. That's the important part is that it's every day is another step closer.
Yeah. So let me, a matter of fact, I see Jeff Fagan just dropped by. Jeff, Jeff is sometimes, I'm going to send you an invite just in case you want to join us. That way I'm not talking for you. But
it was awesome seeing him work at the principal photography wrap. I mean, that man is a machine.
He
was a lot of fun to watch.
Jeff's a total pro, and he knows exactly what he wants, and he gets it. And but he also enjoys it. He also enjoys the process too.
Yeah,
which is a lot of fun. So Jeff, I just sent you an invite if you want to join us. You're of course. Scott Voigt is going to be coming to Axacon. We're excited. We're going to be excited to see Scott again. And I think I talked to, I know I just saw here where a little earlier.
Hopefully there's a lot of folks that are regulars on our on the live streams that'll be there, because I'd certainly like to meet you folks in person if you are there for Axacon.
Yeah, we definitely want to everyone listen. So what is Axacon? Axacon is our own little convention. Chris Weave is coming to Axacon. We talked about that. Jeff would say, I'm shirtless playing ships, or I would come. Yes, that is it is no, it's yeah, you enjoy yourself. You don't need to come on in that state. But yeah, we play World of Warships. Scott Voigt plays with us. Jeff plays. We have our own little clan, and they just introduced a Star Trek kind of theme. So there's Star Trek ships. I know today I just earned Gowron as a commander for one of my ships, and the whole goal is to get you to buy shit, which we don't do. But anyway, so the Star Trek, but it's kind of cool. Like when you get the containers that you get every day, it's all beams in on us on the shuttle deck of the Enterprise. So it's kind of cool. Yeah. So Axacon. Hey, there's Paul Sternbon Alk. Paul will hopefully be at Axacon as well. Axacon is half of it is like, look, we open it up. We've had one of our good friends flew in from California for the last Axacon back in 2019. It was a big deal back then because we had just lit the bridge, right? It was the first time we were able to light the bridge, so that was a lot of fun. But the idea is like, look, we all get together, and this time we're going to watch Icarus maneuver on the bridge. We're going to we're gonna have a little behind the scenes of Axanar. We're gonna have a little sneak peek, and we're all gonna watch it on the bridge on the big screen.
Nice. On that big screen there. Good.
Yeah, I told Dana today, hey, after this shoot, that your next job is to get ready for Axacon so we can watch it all. Yes, the bridge is so much better now. That is cool. I agree. So Axacon is, let's get together, let's watch some action. We're going to do some live streams. We're going to probably do 2 live streams during the day. We'll probably do one like 11 to 12, and then we'll do another one in the afternoon, maybe like 2 to 3 something. And then we're going to break. We're all going to go have a beer, grab some chips and salsa or whatever, and then go out to dinner. It's going to be a real social, casual celebration of Axanar. And
it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun because it's all the people you know. And listen, if anyone else wants to, you're all welcome to come. Right now there's no charge. I'm trying to get some of the actors together to come and to hang out with us on the bridge and be on the live stream and sign some autographs. So I might ask everyone to chip in to, give these guys a few bucks for gas money and pay their beer bills. But Jeff, the Axacon invites just went out today, so you should have just got it. Should be in your email. There's right, exactly.
Yeah, I saw it. Got mine in the email a couple hours ago. Already started making plans for the trip.
Yeah, and it's in conjunction with the Starfleet International Conference, which is down at the Airport Hilton here in Atlanta. So that was kind of the impetus this year that they decided, Starfleet, the fan club, decided to have their international conference here. As I was reading, first of all, they hide. You'd think the international conference would be a big tab on their website, and it isn't. And I'm like,
really?
I have to dig for the information to find out about it.
Right.
And then their schedule is it's ridiculous. Like the schedule is 1 to 4 Saturday, TBD. It's like, what? How about putting a panel? How about, and we offered to do panels, but I don't know. We're going.
Will the Aries Studios chapter have a booth?
We'll see what they want to do, what they're doing. It costs $70 to attend, so I'll throw my $70 in and see.
Are you still going to have an Aries Studios booth? The Aries chapter.
We're doing an Axacon, so we don't. We're inviting all of them up to Axacon.
Gotcha.
Like, come on up and that's fine because then we don't have to man a booth and for 100 people. They may only. I don't know how many they get. I'm told they get between 100 and 125 people. I mean, I remember when the international conference used to be a big deal.
Mhm.
But yeah, so yeah, it seems to me like they don't have someone in charge of the international conference, because by now they should have a panel schedule and guests and all that lined up, and they got nothing, and it's really disappointing. Um,
Just a big
so
old to be determined.
yeah, to be determined. So we'll see. But we'll all be there. So there, everyone, make sure you're a member of the USS Ares chapter of Starfleet International. You can sign up. Just search USS Ares 6 NCC 1650 on Facebook. You'll find our page. It costs $8 a year to be a member. So I just renewed myself and Crystal. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, we had a good time last time at Axacon. It was yeah, the Honor Harrington group. We did our conference in conjunction with the Honor Harrington group, the David Weber Honorverse convention, and that was a lot of fun.
Well, it sounds like it'll be a good weekend with some events. So you got Axacon on Friday, and Saturday is the Starfleet International chapter, thing. If they actually have any plans besides the to be determined, which that's less than a month away. So you would think that they might want to hurry up and figure out something there for
Not my
that.
not my problem. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have
Exactly.
fun. Axacon will be fun. It'll just be very social and
And it's
um,
just on Friday as Axacon. Is that right?
yeah, it's just
Okay.
Friday. Yeah. Matter of fact, we just took some extra furniture up there. So the lobby area will have a little extra seating so everyone can be comfortable. Although I think we're going to be on the bridge most of the time.
Hmm.
Um, so there you go. Yeah, Jeff, you need to come up for Axacon. Yeah, I think it'll be. Listen, I think it'll be good. What I'm just trying to think what else. Some people talked about Paramount. I mean, nothing's changed from the last time we chatted about it, but it looks like Skydance is acquiring the majority of the voting shares of Paramount Global, and although the final sale will take some time, it'll probably to close. We got to go through regulators and this and that. But yeah, we're hopeful. We're hopeful for a new regime in there, and word is that they're not friendly with Kurtzman. That Skydance is not friendly with Kurtzman. I don't know. Again, nothing against Alex Kurtzman, um, but I think we'll see. I mean, we'll see. It could be that they clean house and they start Star Trek from scratch. Uh,
Wow.
that would be interesting.
Because we
Hopefully,
thought that there was a good connection between Skydance to Alex Kurtzman because of J.J. Abrams and
so,
Bad
but
Robot.
Jeff pointed out to me yesterday that Skydance was only involved in Star Trek Beyond. That Skydance wasn't
Mm-hmm.
involved in the first two, and that's when Kurtzman was involved. So Kurtzman, they so for whatever reason, that's
Right.
interesting. Yeah, there he is. That's who I watched his video. Yeah, that is exactly what yeah. As a matter of fact, I sent a message to Jay. If anyone knows Jay at Sidetrack, have him give me a buzz. I sent him a message just like I wanted to chat with him and compare notes on that. Yeah, I mean, I don't anticipate that they'll clean the Star Trek house, which is very small. That's John Van Sitters and Mallory Levitt and those people. They'll probably keep that institutional knowledge base right for Star Trek. Although you never know, and the way things are going with CBS and Paramount, they're laying off people left and right. They just laid off the general counsel last week. This week, the head of CBS News departed. So it'll be interesting to see if those guys last. I mean, John Van Sitters has been there almost 20 years. I don't necessarily see them getting rid of you try and keep the people that have the institutional knowledge as
Right.
long as they fit your your corporate culture, let's just say. I don't see any reason why those guys won't.
So does CBS and Paramount come as a package deal with that
Yeah,
buyout? Or are they pretty much
so
considered one?
Paramount Global is the holding corporation,
Right.
which has Paramount Studios and CBS Studios underneath it.
Okay.
Which I think, and I could be wrong, but I think CBS Studios is underneath Paramount Studios now, since they merged again, right? But
Okay.
it's all under Paramount Global. Is the Paramount Global is the overarching company. I could be wrong about that, so I'll have to check out.
So when we say Skydance is buying out Paramount, we do mean Paramount Global.
Yeah. So Sherry Redstone, daughter of Sumner Redstone,
Right.
owns 70% of the Class A. I think it's the Class A, but the voting stock. So she owns 70% of the voting stock. She only owns 10% of the overall equity in Paramount, but 70% of the voting shares, which is
Okay.
obviously where all the power is. So that's what she's selling to Skydance. So Skydance is acquiring her stock, paying her close to $2 billion, and then merging Skydance and Paramount together. Skydance being the smaller of those two entities. And I think they dropped the valuation that they were asking for Skydance to $4 billion from $5 billion. I think that was one of the issues that they had was the non-voting shareholders of Paramount felt that Skydance was getting a premium price. So I think they lowered that and that was part of the reason. But ultimately, yeah, by having the voting shares, you then control Paramount. And all the non-voting shares are along the ride for the investment. That's it. You're not there for any control.
Okay.
And so they'll control Paramount. And, it seems to me that Skydance wants to keep the business going. Unlike Sony, which wanted to break it all up, which is typical private equity, break it up, sell the parts. So so I think it's I think it's a positive. I don't know how they're going to approach Star Trek, although I'm told David Ellison is a Star Trek fan.
Thank God. Well, that's good.
Yeah. What kind of Star Trek fan? I don't know. Right? Like, does he like the Kurtzman stuff, or he doesn't like the Kurtzman stuff, or he's a next gen fan? He's probably a next gen because he's younger than me. So I don't know. I don't know the deal there, but we're all hopeful that it's going to be positive. It's going to be positive,
and not just good for Star Trek, but we're hoping that they are better towards fan films. That they take more of an adoption of the fan films.
You'd hope they'd be more enlightened than the current regime,
right?
And feel because there's nothing to be gained by being dicks to fan films. Right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't give you anything. And what it does is hurt you. And in a fandom that's already so split, and not split may be the wrong word, but there's so much negativity towards certain aspects of the current Star Trek regime that anything you can do to bring those fans together, to anything that David Ellison could do, that Skydance could do to say, hey, we love Star Trek and we love Star Trek fans, would be good for them.
It would be. It certainly, I really don't see how it could be any worse than it is now with current management. Hopefully this guy will come in and actually realize and appreciate the value of Star Trek and of the people that support Star Trek.
Yeah. The lot was not only that's not quite accurate, Paul. Sony had a plan to sell the lot to a real estate developer. That was one of the ways they were going to extract the money from it. That is not the plan for David Ellison and Skydance, because they revere Paramount. Paramount's the oldest surviving studio right now, and so and that that's the only Hollywood backlot, has survived. So I think keeping it intact is important. The thing for Skydance is they have to figure out how to navigate streaming, and they have to figure out how to cut costs and drive revenue. Right? There's already a plan in place with the three musketeers who are the co-CEOs right now. They're planning on cutting, and it's from what I understand, it's brutal right now at Paramount. And I've heard from a couple people, which it may be anecdotal or apocryphal, but that they're not even supposed to be using FedEx right now. They're on such, it's like send it regular mail, don't send it FedEx. That may
really send a telegram.
We do know that people are leaving. Let's just say, right? That important big people. I mean, the general counsel and the head of CBS News both left within a week. That's big news. So who else is going to leave? And
hopefully Loeb and Loeb.
Hopefully Lobes and Lobes.
Yeah, let's get them out of there.
Yeah, hopefully, they realize that wasting money suing fans is not a productive use. And listen, we're all behind Skydance, so we want them to be successful. We want Star Trek to be successful, and without any, again, my position from the beginning has been I have nothing against Alex Kurtzman. I think there's a lot of good has happened under his regime, and in a way, realistically, if you look at Alex Kurtzman's regime at Star Trek, if you've produced bad Star Trek, okay, and I'm going to put Discovery, for me personally, Discovery is bad Star Trek. Lower Decks is good Star Trek. Prodigy is good Star Trek. Star Trek, Strange New Worlds is good Star Trek. Picard season 3 is good Star Trek, right? The other 2 seasons were mediocre. But that's a lot of good Star Trek for a couple of misses, right? For a bad Discovery and 2 bad seasons, mediocre seasons of Picard. But they got a lot of good. So in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to give credit to Alex Kurtzman for a good job managing the Star Trek franchise. Now, the problem is not Kurtzman. The problem was the CBS regime, the CBS and Paramount regime, that thought it was wise to spend hundreds of millions of dollars getting Discovery going because, we're going to get it to streaming and it's going to blah, blah, and realizing what a waste of money that was for a couple of reasons. One, they had no clue about how streaming was going to work, right? Just like all of Hollywood, right? It's not like they were uniquely bad at this. No one really understood streaming. And I mean, even Disney, right? Who's at the top of the heap. And so everyone's lost a lot of money. Everyone's trying to figure out how streaming is going to work. Everyone's realizing now there ain't going to be 23 streaming services moving forward. And so everyone's trying to grapple. And this is one of the big things that David Ellison and Skydance have got to do. They've got to figure out how to take Paramount Plus, and how to make it profitable. And that may be merging with someone else or partnering with someone else or whatever. The answer is not spending hundreds of millions of dollars on shows. I think this is why Batgirl got shelved. This is why, what was there was another show, I forgot which one it was, that got shelved. This is why everyone's backing off now from these streaming shows, because they're realizing there's no return on investment. If you're spending $300 million on the first season of Star Trek Discovery, there's no return on investment now or in 20 years on that $300 million on streaming, right? And that's why you see them put it on broadcast and this and that. So Skydance and David Ellison have got to figure out the streaming thing. I can guarantee you no one is going to be spending hundreds of millions of dollars on Star Trek anymore.
Right.
And
it's not that profitable.
It's not profitable at all. And Starfleet Academy, this is Kurtzman's little passion project, right? I
Hmm.
mean, I think it's a mistake. I think the
Really?
fans told you what. Well, again, the fans told you what they wanted after season 3 of Picard. They wanted Star
Sure.
Trek Legacy. Kurtzman decided, no, we're going to give you Starfleet Academy, which no one wants.
Nobody.
No one was there saying we want Starfleet. No one except Alex Kurtzman. Now, as Ron Moore once said, well, they didn't hire you to make the show; they hired me. So it's going to be the way he wants. And right, hey, that's
But
his
how tone deaf?
prerogative.
Yeah, which I get that. I understand that. But if you've just got this huge in the megaphone, this is what we want. Everyone would be behind this. This is the show to do. And you're just like, no, instead I'll do Star Trek 90210. To me, I think that now if you I am not saying that you should just do what the fans want. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that if you can't even go so far as to say, we heard you loud and clear, we're going to see what we can do to make that happen. We're going to write that out, plan that out, plot that out to see, can this actually be feasible? That's different. At least then you acknowledge that you're listening. But not only do they not do that, but it's just kind of a, well, we're not going to comment on this huge outpouring support of Star Trek Legacy. We're not even going to comment on that. Instead, we're going to, one, not comment on it, two, give you a
Different
youngins
show.
Star Trek show, Starfleet Academy. To me, it just seems like, how can you be so?
Well, listen. So in defense of Alex Kurtzman, one, it's his decision, right? He's got the power. He wants to make this show. All right, that so be it. Two, we don't know the real. Listen, there might be reasons we don't know why Star Trek Legacy is not feasible, right? I don't know, right?
There
But
could be, but throw us a bone and say that you hear
oh,
us.
well, yeah. Listen, it seems like it'd be a no brainer to do a Star Trek Legacy movie, right? Do a 2 hour
Ooh,
movie, or 3 hour or 4 hour miniseries or whatever.
yeah.
It seems like that would make sense. I just think that we don't have enough information. And again, I think it's a bad idea. I've said it's a bad. I think Academy. And listen, with Paul Giamatti, I think Academy might be a good show. I hate the idea. I hate the 32nd century. I think there's a lot of bullshit in that century, whether it's the TARDIS turbolifts or the the standoff nacelles or the crap that's passing for costumes in that show. There's a lot I hate about Discovery.
The cavernous turbo lift system.
Oh my god, it's ridiculous. But whatever they've got their reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And they did, let's face it, they did give us Strange New Worlds, right? So it's kind of hard to say, well, they don't listen to the fans. They did listen to the fans.
True.
They say, after season 2, we were all like, Pike, we want a Pike show. And they gave it to us. And they gave us episodic. And they gave us everything we wanted. So I guess you kind of say, hey, they gave us what we wanted. Now they're going to get, Kurtzman's going to do what he wants. I can't really, I still want Legacy, but okay, it is what it is. So there you go. Yeah, it's a little late for either Captain Sulu or Captain Worf at this point.
Yeah, that ship has sailed. Unfortunately, I think I think that to me, those are things they've been around and talked about for so much. But honestly, it's the same thing as for the longest time, there was this idea being thrown around about doing a series that instead of the whole Starfleet and Federation point of view was on the Klingons. And I think that's a show where the Klingons are the focal point is good for maybe a 1 or 2 episodes or a movie, but not a 10 episode season does a Star Trek Klingons make. That's they're not that. Okay, I'm about to say they're not that good. I don't want to say that. I'm just saying that.
Look who
I
put
put a shirt on.
Oh, you got a
shirt
shirt
on just for you guys.
Thank you.
What's going on?
Well,
We're good.
we're just talking about Kurtzman Trek.
Good or bad?
Well, listen. The point I just made was that I don't want Star Trek Academy, and I don't know anyone who outside of Cheeto who does want Star Trek Starfleet Academy. But it's kind of hard for us to say, hey, we want legacy, give us what we want, when they just gave us Strange New Worlds, right? After season 2 of Picard, we all like, give us Pike, give us episodic, give us what we're used to. And they did. So at this point, it's like, okay, so if Kurtzman wants to go off and do his own thing, it's kind of hard to sit here and bitch about that,
I also don't think there's enough money to do that many shows. I think just having Strange New Worlds and then having the Starfleet Academy show, and all right, let's say they already paid for Lower Decks, so that's no more. They had to pay for the Section 31 movie, which is more expensive than one episode of a TV show,
right?
But it's still more. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's just not expensive as a whole season of a show. I don't think there's enough money to make legacy.
No, there
right
isn't.
Now.
No, and that's what we were talking about. There just isn't. The problem is the economics of Star Trek don't work. They don't work on the movie. We know they don't work for movies.
No.
And the commitment they made to Discovery was based on thinking. I mean, let's face it. Discovery was being worked on back when they were suing us, which is part of the reason they were suing us, right? They wanted to come out with Discovery. And because of that, that's 2014, 2015. And at that time, no one knew what the hell streaming was going to be, right? And, and so they spent all this money thinking this is going to be our big flagship for streaming. And it wasn't. And they wasted hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're not going to be doing that again. And, it'll be interesting to see what they accomplish with the Starfleet Academy, because the budget is not going to be Discovery level budget.
No, especially with the kinds of actors they have coming in. I mean, I like Paul Giamatti, as great as he is. I don't think you're going to see him in that many episodes, because he's a recurring guest star.
Yeah,
I think you're right. He'll be in. I'm going to say half of the season worth of episodes. I not in every episode character. I don't see that. From looking at the cast, it seems like they're definitely going the route of let's keep it tight, let's keep it cheap, let's try to get profit off of this and not have any actors that are going to be asking for a lot of money.
They're almost going the Star Wars route, where it's like, okay, everyone who's a main character is going to be someone you've never seen before, except for maybe one guy or one girl. And then like there may be one guy or one girl who's in some guest part that's only in a few episodes, but they're going to be the anchor of the show, kind of like Carrie-Ann Moss is for the Acolyte. She's kind of like the one big star of that show.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to point out what Paul Sternball is saying here. The Saving Grace for Strange New Worlds of the Annals, they are not the prime timeline. Basically what they said.
When did they do that?
So this is it. It's subtle, and you have to pay attention to the con episodes. In the con episodes, they basically acknowledged that the timeline was changing. Now,
you're right.
They basically, because let's face it, they have Khan as a kid in 2222 or 2022, right? And they basically said the Romulans have been messing with the timeline. Now, we didn't get the specifics of that, but it's basically, saying, this is not the timeline that we see in the future, because it messes with everything. So I hear you on that. And yes, the other comment I wanted to point out is Sci-Fi Nation talks about Mark Zicree did a release a couple of weeks ago saying that World Enough in Time by Star Trek Continues was it wasn't by Star Trek Continues, it was by Star Trek New Voyages. was a Sulu show we never got. In Marcus Zickery's mind, it was. Yeah, I not in any, not in
with
else's, but it was great to see Sulu as captain of the Excelsior.
To be completely non-political about this, what I'll say is the way he named it was like the way that you name YouTube videos now. You do it a little misleading, but not so misleading that it's not quite like lying. But at the same time, you get a lot of people to click on it. And I got to give credit to him. He did a really good job on that, because it's obviously that's not what that episode was. It was not a Sulu pilot by any stretch.
No.
But there was a little bit of like, what could have been, and it was enough to get some screenshots and make it seem that way. So I got to give him props. But that's like the big thing on YouTube now. It's not just him. He's seen everybody doing that. In the camera space, I see it all the time. Is this the best camera ever created? Is this the camera you wish you had?
Exactly.
Like everyone's doing it. So like I don't knock him at all for doing that, even though it's not quite on, because everyone's doing it. So props for trying to take that and do it in the realm of Star Trek fan films, because no one's really done that.
Yeah.
Right.
And listen, and World Enough Time is a great episode. It's a great. It is one of the, in any list, it has to be one of the top 5 Star Trek fan films of all time. And also, I should point out, World Enough in Time was a rejected title for Hemingway's Whom the Bell Tolls. That's where that name came from, which I just stumbled upon that information one day. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Hey, and in a weird way, if that episode was never created, there may never have been an Axanar. If you think about it, in a weird thread,
it was
because
definitely.
It put fan films on George Takei's map, and George Takei is a really big reason why Axanar happened in a certain way.
He totally got behind us. Okay, Andrew, we got to address this. We didn't kill fan films, right? First of all, no one killed fan films. Star Trek fan films are it is arguably the golden age of Star Trek fan films. Mm-hmm. There are more Star Trek fan films since the Axanar lawsuit by CBS and Paramount than in the entire 50 years before then. So everyone is doing Star Trek fan films now. And if anything, what the fan film guidelines did was they basically said, stop spending hundreds of thousands of dollars doing a fan film and do it on a more modest budget, which everyone from Vance Major to Sam Cockins to Josh Irwin have been able to do effectively and repeatedly over and over. I mean, you can set aside Vance Major because he does it so cheap on his iPhone, but look at Josh Irwin, or look at Josh Irwin is every bit as prolific as Star Trek Continues or Star Trek New Voyages, or Sam Cockings, who is just he's just become a runaway train in the fan film business. So Andrew now they're limited to 15 minutes. Although they're limited to 15 minutes, there are lots of fan films that are not limited to 15 minutes.
Exactly.
I mean, all of Josh Irwin's are going 45 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. So there's nothing there. And there are stories. So you just need, Andrew, God bless you. You need to jump on Fan Film Forum, Jonathan Lane's blog, and learn about all the different fan films. Because really, it seems to me that you just are not up to date with what's happening in Star Trek fan films. So thank you, Bob. We kind of agree with you there. But yeah, check out Power 543, which is Sam Cockings on YouTube, or check out Avalon Universe, which is Josh Irwin, or No Budget Productions, which is Vance Major. And just, boy, there's a lot of stuff out there. So there you go.
There sure are. And it's a good time to do a fan film, to be in, try to be in a fan film. I know that's something that I've always wanted to do. And in the course of the last year, just seeing how it was being done, and the realization that I don't need to have this high-end Hollywood equipment to be able to do that. And it can be as good, it can be as cheap, or as expensive as you want it to be. and
Yeah.
it is something that that we can all do.
Jeff,
I can't wait
who
to
is
see
that?
somebody. I can't wait to see somebody make a fan film on the iPhone 15, because the iPhone 15. I'm a film snob. I film on Red cameras and Black Magics and Sonys and all that stuff. I just got the iPhone 15. I really didn't take it seriously because I'm just like, iPhone. The iPhone 15, the camera is incredible. Like,
Really?
incredible. Probably it is better than GoPros for sure. Like, you could film a legitimate movie on the iPhone 15.
Now, and who is the which director was it that did that snowball fight video on a? I think he did it on a 14.
He did the first John Wick movie. I'm trying to remember. If you guys are in the chat, figure out who did the first John Wick movie. And that director did it wasn't for the 15, which the 15 is way better than the commercial he did, or the phone
Right.
he used. But for the iPhone 14, he shot a commercial and used the iPhone 14 for it. It's like a snow fight commercial.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not the guy that what? It's not Chad Stileski.
Chad. He was one of the John Wick directors. I don't remember if he did the first one. If he did, it may have been him then.
He did.
So I think
He's
it
done
was
all
him.
of them. He did.
So I think it
of
was
them.
him then.
Yeah, yeah, that was amazing. That was that was. But again, that goes to show you that it's all about it's all about the person using the camera, not the camera.
There were some scenes for a fan film, a couple fan films that I'm in, and I used my Android phones, the Galaxy S21, and I was surprised. Like, the quality is good. You wouldn't think that. Well, the phones now are certainly very capable of giving good quality for films. Now, granted, there was a time they certainly were not, but I think that folks may not realize that the phone you have now is a good film quality for shooting a movie on. You may not realize it because we keep thinking there's no way a phone. You can't use a cell phone for shooting video because they're not that good. Yeah, they are. They're
Well, I will. The devil's advocate, or the opposite to that, is a lot of phones don't have a lot of what's called dynamic range. So if let's say the color spectrum was 0 to 100, a lot of phones can really only see like 0 to 20, where like cinema cameras can see 0 to 100. But what's happening now with these modern phones, especially the iPhone 15, I think you got some music playing in the background, Alan?
Oh. There we go. Sorry.
We're jamming out some. So the new iPhones can go like 0 to 80. It can get like a lot of that spectrum. And when you're filming narrative work and you're using lights and you're not filming outside, the more dynamic range your phone or camera has, the better the image is going to look. Because especially like, think about those scenes that I shot on the bridge where like some of them are really contrasty. Like the only one that really wasn't super contrasty was Sonia Alexander. All the other ones are contrasty, where if you shot with a phone, it would look terrible just because it couldn't pull out areas of darkness and make it look good, where these new iPhones can. And I think eventually even like Android phones, all the new iPhones, like they're going to be in this new level that they haven't quite been yet, but they will be in this level where you can film indoors. That's kind of the biggest thing. If you can film indoors and get really good quality video, not photos, but video, there's a possibility you could probably film, decent fan films or films in general on your phone. It's just about the level of dynamic range. And Apple can do it more than other companies because they own a lot of the proprietary codecs and things that they can put into the camera. But as Apple does that, companies like Samsung, what Android phone do you have?
I've got the Samsung Galaxy S21.
So you're going to see companies like Samsung who are going to be forced to do like the same thing, because their whole thing has been, we've always had what the iPhone had, but before. We've always had it first. And so now that the iPhone has taken that leap, which they've only done that in the most expensive one. It's not in all of the iPhone 15s. But you're going to see Samsung's going to start doing this. And then like other Android companies are going to start doing this too. And that's what's going to make things interesting. that you now do. You won't have to go buy a camera anymore. You can
Right.
take it in the palm of your hand. Like even for some of my camera videos where I'm doing a review, instead of going and like getting another camera to take like B-roll shots of whatever product I'm filming, I'll just take my iPhone now and there's like a special mode called Apple Log, and I just film an Apple Log. You can even hook up a US. Do I have the USB-C here? It's actually, yeah, it's plugged in. Hold on. So I have this little USB, or where is it? This little drive, and this hooks up directly to your phone, so you don't have to waste your phone memory. And you could literally just plug this in, film everything, take it off, plug it into your computer. It's just so much easier to film on phones now. It's crazy.
And they have things now where you can use your phone as your webcam. Because there's this application that I got to my phone. Yeah, I got on mine. I got Droid Cam. And that's exactly what it does. Is it would, I'm not using that right now, but if I wanted to be able to use my phone's camera as the webcam, it can do that. It can be plugged in, or it can operate over Wi-Fi. So yeah, folks, your guys' phones can do a lot more now than they used to.
Another tip is, so Blackmagic, which is a company I've used for years. We've used them a little bit on Axanar. They created an iPhone app that is so good that Apple recommends using it to filmmakers over their video app. It's just much better. As of last week, they just released it for Android, the same app from Blackmagic. And so now you can literally dial in all of the settings and get the best video quality out of your Android. It's a little bit more beta on Android because every Android's different, where a lot of the iPhones are very similar. You know what to expect. But if you're interested in filming video on your Android or iPhone, the Blackmagic app is free. So I would definitely take a look, download it, and experiment. You can get some really cool stuff out of it.
Nice. I'm going to look that up right now.
Yeah, no, definitely use it. Definitely use it. It's a no-brainer. I can't believe Blackmagic puts this stuff out for free. Because it helps everybody. It really does.
Yeah, I'm just what.
Well, I got everyone. I want to think how many people right now are downloading this app. Blackmagic, you should give me royalties of free.
Yeah, for real.
I have an iPhone 14, and I have no need to upgrade it right now because I think I just paid it off. So
yeah, I mean, it's one generation behind. I mean, it's still relatively new. I would, unless you're really like the caveat is, unless you're really going to use the phone for the video stuff. I mean, if you're not going to, keep the 14. It's good. It's a big upgrade. I was luckily able to. I think I got this new iPhone for like half price because I traded in my old one that was paid off, but it was old too. It was like 3 years old. I was surprised they gave me that much money for it.
Yeah. That's I had before this. I had an XR. So, let's see what we got here.
Yeah, I might need a newer phone because it did not come up for me, and there are apps.
Yeah,
that if it's not compatible on your device, it doesn't show. But I've actually, and not just for doing films on, but this phone that I've got is getting a little long in the tooth. I've been trying to talk myself out of upgrading because I like pinching the pennies, but I don't know. New Samsung might be my own birthday gift in a couple months here.
Mm-hmm. I'd see what they come out with this year because the new iPhones are going to come out soon. So, they're going to have to start
16.
competing with the iPhone. Yeah, the 16 is going to come out soon.
Yeah, the 16. Geez, they just keep making it. I guess this one is even thinner.
Yeah, when are they gonna go back to like the one? Because it's gonna get too much. When we get to like iPhone 20,
yeah,
it's gonna be pretty crazy. It's gonna be like, all right, guys, like time to change it back to like iPhone X or something.
My problem with the phone is it got so big that you can't necessarily reach everything with your thumb.
Right. You can't hold it in one hand.
I got to use two hands. So, yeah, but Oh, we just lost Jeff. He knows how to get back.
But there's some good tips out there for all of you that are looking into doing filmmaking.
Oh yeah. That's funny. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. That is a first world problem. Yeah, I can't access. I have to use two hands on my phone.
My phone is so big, my thumb doesn't reach all of it.
Yeah,
that is such a first world problem.
Exactly. So, well, listen, we've been on for an hour and 15 minutes on this Friday night. I hope it's great to see everyone. A lot of the regulars are here. Don and Wright and Sturm and Jens is here, and Scott Voigt, and Frank Parker just dropped in to say hi. It's always good to see Frank.
And Jim with Jim Landscape, thanks for coming by.
Yeah,
always like seeing you guys. So yeah, I had a lot of regulars. It was good, and yeah, I've got a movie night with my fiance coming up, so I'm definitely going to have to drop here soon. Jeff,
sorry guys, I got a phone call that came in, and I forgot I'm actually using the StreamYard app. So in the good way was it took the phone call, but it kept me on the app, and I was trying to figure out what to do.
Not a problem. You gonna go back into Warships?
Alec, I never stopped playing Warships.
Have you been playing now? Look, oh, there he is.
I didn't stop. I've been worshipping this whole time, but I decided to come in and say hi to everybody. So
all right. Well, I'm going to be jumping in here in a minute, so we can join. Hey, listen, if anyone out there wants to play Warships, we have a clan, the Axanar clan, and you're welcome to jump in. We have a Discord server. We'll give you the address to the Discord server, and you can jump in and chat with us. And we just Scott Voigt is in there all the time. Sogi. Jeff Craig, a bunch of guys. We just sit there and chat and play Warships and blow shit up. And Have you been playing the new mode, Jeff?
I have not, because I've been trying to grind up so I can get Gowron.
Oh, I just got him today.
I heard. You said you got him. I'm like one game away. That's why I've been grinding while I've been doing.
Oh, okay.
Trying to not look like I was playing. I've been playing.
Yeah, I had to play Italian Battleship, so I just played the Venezia for the first time. Venezia, whatever it is, Venezia. And holy shit, it's a glass cannon.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, I was just like, I took one hit and lost like 14,000 points, and I was just like, I wasn't even broadside to that guy. What the hell happened?
Yeah, and they have for the Star Trek update, they have skins for certain ships. So as you can imagine, the Enterprise, which is an aircraft carrier, they like skinned it, and it doesn't look exactly like the Enterprise D, but they skinned it to like kind of resemble the outside of the Enterprise D, but still keeping the battleship or the aircraft carrier overall body. So it's interesting. I'm not going to buy it, but it was cool to see what they did. I was curious.
As I mentioned at the beginning of this thing, Jeff, I was like, yeah, we don't buy anything.
Well, yeah, okay. The just to buy Picard and the Enterprise skin, not even the ship, it's like $38.
That's ridiculous.
To buy all the skins, it's like a few $100s. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Right.
What are they trying to do out here?
Yeah, I hear you. I just listen. As I said, I'll spend $100 at Christmas time, and that's it. I think I've got like 2 years of premium saved up at this point. So yeah, Sci-Fi Nation, it is World of Warships. And if you want a referral code, I'll send you one. Just send me an email, alec@axanar.com. Yeah, I already have the Enterprise. I'll tell you, the most fun ship, if you play aircraft carriers, which I generally don't, the most fun to play is the Graf Zeppelin, because its secondary batteries are so nasty. The other day I was playing it, and I destroyed a ship while I was flying my planes. And
oh wow,
what happened? It's just because you don't want to get anywhere near. Anyway, it's fun. I like playing destroyers, but oh god, whenever you come across a strong German ship with their secondaries, you're in trouble.
Which is what I am all the time.
Yeah. Tomy announcement about the TMP model. Yes, I did see that announcement. It came out 2 days ago, maybe. And I think they've learned their lesson because they advertise no visible nuts or bolts or screws, because this is the company that produced the metal Enterprise model 2 years ago, which I almost bought and I didn't. And then I'm glad I didn't because so many people were unhappy with it. Well, they've released their fundraising for an Enterprise refit in 1/350th scale, which is worth probably having. I mean, that's kind of the one I wanted. I had a Master Replicas Enterprise and sold it. And I don't know. I'm absolutely.
It looks hot. It looks
good, and it's might just it's $650, and I might well just plunk down for that. I'm definitely in the mode of having less, as you can see, I have less stuff in my life than I've had in the past. So we will see. But listen, we're gonna let everyone get going at this point. So thank you everyone for joining us. We appreciate it. All the regulars are here. Axacon is August 2nd, and we will be live streaming from it. Jeff, you need to come up and hang out with us. Jeff. Axacon.
Yeah, I'll see if I can make it happen.
Yeah, that'd be fun. You should come on up.
Yeah.
We're just going to hang out on the bridge and live stream and take photos, and hopefully I'll have some of the actors come by so they can all sign autographs, and it'll be a good time. So until then, everyone, thank you very much. We'll see some of you next week when we're doing Trek After Dark on Wednesdays, and if you have any questions, I didn't show you any new previs tonight. Sorry, guys, but stay tuned. It's coming hot and heavy. Join the Patreon. I should point that out. Join the Patreon campaign, because the Patreon campaign is where you will see, and that's not it. There you go. Patreon.com/Aries Studios. That's where I'm posting on there all the time. That's where you're going to find out all the information. And you can join for like $2 a month, $5 a month. It's cheap. But that helps us continue to do stuff like this. And you'll get all the inside information on Axanar and when we release. And to see the first thing. We got a trailer coming out hopefully next month. And hopefully Data List will come out next month. I'm hoping at the end of the month. But a lot of good stuff coming, and we're real excited. So thank you very much. Jeff, good seeing you.
Yeah, good to see you, Jeff. Hopefully if you're at Axacon, I'll see you.
Jeff with a J, Jeff with a G.
Sounds good.
You guys. So we'll see you guys around the block. Everyone, thank you so much. As always, live long and prosper, my friends. Out.